Beyond a collective interest in violins and clarinets, the goal for this ensemble is simple: to promote Nigerian and African classical arts. For violinist and founder of the Vesta Orchestra, Rosalind Aninye, a clear premise for its formation was very important.
Oh, well, we play classical, and we play what I call Afri-classical, which is African music or classical music with an African idiom, and so we perform a lot of works by African composers, classical music by African composers. And every time people come to our concerts, they're wowed and taken, by what it sounds like. And they realize, oh, Beethoven and Mozart are classical music from Europe, but we can also have Seun Owaje or Gabriel Adedeji, and it'll sound beautiful.
The inspiration for founding the orchestra germinated while Rosalind lived in Austria as a professional musician and luthier.
I would come home and meet other musicians, and I found you have a lot of talented musicians here, classically trained, but there isn't a lot of performance opportunity. And so I came to establish my violin workshop and realized, okay, I could also establish the orchestra, and we could work towards something bigger, like a concert house where we have regular concerts and in the African idiom as well as European works performed.
What would you say the outlook for classical music in Nigeria is?
Being a musician will take you to the end of your life, but entertainment will not. Because being a musician, you can train to become a teacher. And that's why a lot of the high life music we had in the past is still played today. Because those high life composers or singers were musicians, they played instruments. And there will always be a need for instruments, there will always be a need for musicians, but there won't always be a need for entertainers in the sense of other genre of music where you go into a studio and put beats together, because you can only have one in 1,000, in 1,000,000 who makes it for the length of his life. But for a musician, he will always have a place to play if he works on his skill and he exposes himself correctly. That is to say, if he has the right tools to market himself.
But in spite of its viability, Rosalind emphasizes the need to be cognizant of musicians' true art and value.
We are very musical in Nigeria, and so I think people take it for granted every time they see a musician. They don't understand the amount of work that goes into being a musician. They don't understand you need to be trained, you need to go to school. You could play some things, but reading music and understanding how to play in an orchestra isn't something you just learn. You have to be educated in that. You have to take a lot of time out to practice, and you have to play with people like in the orchestra.
While there are great prospects ahead for musicians, a number of stumbling blocks also exist.
We don't really have an arts council here that supports musicians, or I'm not sure we do. We have something similar to, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. And there's a lot of focus on entertainment as opposed to the cultural value of musicianship. And so musicians don't get any support. We have to drum up our own finances ourselves. It's very difficult. And so you have the brain drain you have in other sectors of a country, which is people going abroad. Because instead of having concerts every week, we have concerts every other month, every 3 months, which isn't really ideal. Even though the musicians are busy doing other things, they would like to keep playing every night of the week. That is what a musician wants to do. And so that has been very challenging, not having any corporate support, not having any government support.
Putting the perfect ensemble together is just as intricate an art as the music itself, and Rosalind shares insights on this process.
We don't do the traditional audition because that doesn't produce what you want. You want to know that in as much as a musician might be very good, they can also fit into a group of people, because you have situations where you have the best musicians who can't fit in with people. And you don't want those on your team, because you want team players. You want an orchestra to sound like an orchestra, you know. Yeah, so it's more of a person-to-person sort of thing. They reach out to musicians and we invite them in and see if they fit it.
I say thank you to the Vesta Orchestra.
Beyond the orchestra's music renditions, there is also a social impact project it convenes, which involves teaching music at 5 government schools in Lagos.
And we take the JS1 class. Now this is the second year. We're going to resume now shortly with that. The children are very excited. We see the change already in 1 year in their level of discipline. They can read music. That makes us super proud, because reading music is so difficult. And trying to convince them that they're doing well is also quite difficult, but they see it slowly, you know, that it works for them, and they're quite happy about it. So are we. We want to take it wider, but first of all, we'll concentrate on what we can handle financially until we can move on to the next phase.
While the orchestra and social impact projects have proven to be intrinsically rewarding endeavors, Rosalind says one ultimate desire will be the cherry on top.
Well, we want a Lagos Opera House because you have not just musicians, but you also have performers, you have dancers, and you have people going now into ballet, and they fuse it with African dance. And we want those people on a big stage, you know? We had hoped the National Theatre would do something for us, you know, in terms of being allowed to showcase there, but that's not ready. And a Lagos Opera House wouldn't exclude the National Theatre or any other house. It'll just mean there's more opportunity for these performers and musicians. We want that. Lagos is a good hub for culture. Why not include this angle of it to ensure you can bring in even more people who are interested in our genre of music?
We have started to educate the people. I'm also a music teacher, and I teach children about Nigerian music in schools. And just me as an expat, I would have liked the children to know more about the Nigerian music, more about their roots. It's very important that they learn what their roots are. And that's what we do in Vesta.
The sky is just the starting point, because the culture we are customizing classical music here in Nigeria. We're now adapting it to our own local folklore, our own kind of music and stuff like that. We're bringing a lot of it out in, and we're also showing the world the kind of music we have using classical instruments here.
It is finally concert day, and while the yearnings for more still exists, this musical ensemble promises to keep putting its best flute forward. Abby Olawi for Rise News.